Runs 14 years deep with a school 1 hour up the street, writes itself tonight at the UNG soccer field and Lynn Cottrell Park. The crowd here in Dahlonega is excited and ready to see the 22nd ranked team in the nation, North Georgia Nighthawks, take on the Mountain Lions from Young Harris. Glad to have you all with us today alongside my partner Devin Kupka and the rest of the Nighthawk Sports Network team. Robert DiClemente on hand for you tonight. These two women's soccer programs know each other very well, previously matching up against one another for some very exciting games as members of the Peach Belt Conference. Young Harris has since left the PBC for the Conference Carolinas as of last year. Devin, even though there's no more Battle of Blood Mountain on paper, this game still absolutely means a little more for these two teams, and it's always fun to see the Nighthawks and the Mountain Lions face off every season.
Yeah, while most of the programs, both Young Harris and North Georgia don't play each other, and most of the other sports now since Young Harris left the Peach Belt, it does still mean a lot because Young Harris is the closest opponent North Georgia will play all season because the trip is only about an hour or so northeast of here. So, there's that rivalry in there because outside of that, North Georgia's closest opponent, you might have to say, is like Clayton State, which is just a little south of Atlanta, which is just about 2 hours from here.
We should be in for another exciting matchup between the Nighthawks and the Lions. Like we said, always fun to see North Georgia and Young Harris matching up, and no matter what sport it is between these two squads. Let's take a look at tonight's starting lineups presented by Northeast Georgia Health System. First for Coach Allen and the Mountain Lions on the field. Starting out this game, it's going to be Adoria Sanders, Gracie Smith, Justice Colburn, Chloe Schmidhuber, Anna Ferrante, Anita Rose, Mackenzie Took, Morgan Castle, Betsy Boo, Kenna Both, and McKenna Peaster is going to hold it down in the goal for the Mountain Lions here in this matchup. And for Coach Ralton and the Nighthawks, it's going to be Alex Clark, Adelaide Wheeler, Allie Treadwell, Chloe Diaz, Bailey Odinger, Nina Lopez, Kat Watry, Michael Fruits, Alexa Arnoff, and the Peach Belt Conference Player of the Week, Blanca Cruz, is going to start out this game for North Georgia. And, of course, Sierra Fowler is going to hold it down in goal for the Nighthawks to start this one out. We are underway here in Dahlonega. Nighthawks off to a quick start here. As you can see, Kat Watry just had that throw in, wearing a mask to start this game out. May have had an injury last game. Also has the captain's band on her left arm, and Devin Watry is one of those hard-nosed defenders. She's going to play through injury no matter what. Yeah,
and she's really one of the senior Nighthawks that has stepped up big time for this squad because you had a loss of a lot of seniors after last season, and it's good to see those juniors that become seniors step up and take a big role, and we've seen a lot of that from Kat Watry so far this season.
That cross kind of stays low to the ground from Odinger, as this ends up in another throw-in here over on the right side for North Georgia. Nighthawks off to a strong start to the season, 2-0 to begin 2024, picking up wins against UNC Pembroke and Limestone to begin this season. Mountain Lions not after the start they would have hoped for, coming to Dahlonega 0-2. Lots of action going on right now in the box, and the Nighthawks are going to have a good opportunity here as Wheeler sends it in, and that's tipped out of there by Young Harris. And what a save there by Peaster. Wheeler had a great look at it, and this is going to result in the first corner of the game here for North Georgia.
Yeah, there is a very good opportunity for North Georgia to put the first goal up on the board, and if you're Young Harris, don't want to allow those opportunities early because, the goals have been far and few between for the Mountain Lions this season as they yet to have scored a goal through 2 games.
Corner stays low, ends up bouncing out of play. The Nighthawks are going to get another opportunity here on this corner. As this is sent in, and still alive here for North Georgia. The shot is going in. What a fantastic shot there by Chloe Diaz. Pinpoint precision puts the Nighthawks up 1-0 early.
take a look at the replay there. It was a good head in. And that was a great kick by Chloe Diaz to get it into the back of the net. North Georgia goes up early 1-0 over Young Harris.
And that's exactly the start that you want to have if you're North Georgia. Getting Diaz involved early, already has a goal this season, and not just her second of the year. She had all sorts of time to load up, make the shot, had plenty of room, and just like that, North Georgia with the advantage. A couple players hit the turf, and Young Harris is looking to respond here. This ball just rolls out of play. Young Harris is going to try to throw it in quickly over here on the side, and that is now 3 consecutive games that Young Harris has allowed goals against their opponents to open up here in 2024. Most of their games have been close, though. Just an 0-2 loss and an 0-1 loss to begin the year. Coming by Mars Hill and Trevecca, as this is going to be headed right over to Sierra Fowler, who makes a dive on the ball. Good opportunity there for Young Harris, but they've got to go against a stingy back line here for North Georgia. This defense for the Nighthawks has been one of the strongest suits since Coach Ralton took over about 5 years ago here for North Georgia. And, of course, they have one of the best goalkeepers in not just the PBC, but you could argue in all of Division II women's soccer, in Sierra Fowler holding it down there for the Nighthawks.
Yeah, every year under Coach Ralton, starting with 2021, they've made the NCAA postseason every year under Ralton, and she's been doing a very, very good job with this soccer program, and kind of felt like last year it could have been taken to even higher heights. They made it to the second round of the NCAA tournament. Some injuries played a factor into that later in the season, but things were on the up and up big time last year.
You're absolutely right, Devin. A historic season for the Nighthawks last year, led by Coach Ralton. Career best year here with the Nighthawks. Tournament runners-up in the Peach Belt Conference, like you said. Made it back to the NCAA tournament. They've really gotten better every single season that she's been here. That was a good cross into the box by Wheeler. Had a couple of Nighthawks in the vicinity, though, and they still have possession here.
Yeah, ball has been in that Young Harris territory, though, pretty much the whole game. Young Harris only been able to put pressure on North Georgia once so far, and 5 minutes into this one.
Here is Treadwell, gives it off to Watry, now to Wheeler. Watry and Wheeler, members of the all preseason conference team. This ball's headed up in the air and still alive. The follow is no good, but we do have a whistle. I believe this is going to go against North Georgia.
Yeah, there was it's contested there. The goalie kind of moving towards the ball. Might have, in hindsight, could have potentially not been a good move, because there were a lot of Nighthawks in the area inside the box.
Yeah, they've definitely been testing Peaster early in this one. McKenna Peaster started 18 matches last season for the Mountain Lions, had 76 saves on the season, played over 1,500 minutes in 2023. So both of these teams with a veteran presence in goal. Nighthawks with another great opportunity here. Here is Clark! Alex Clark puts it in! The Nighthawks are rolling here early. A 2-0 lead here for North Georgia. Number 2 makes it 2-0, Devin.
Yeah, and that was another good instance of Nighthawks putting the ball in there. And North Georgia going up early, 2-0 over Young Harris. And the thing for Young Harris is they're going to have to get a goal on board. We mentioned at the top of the broadcast, yet to score a goal, and going down 2-0 early in the game is going to be a challenge for the Mountain Lions if they don't score.
And there are just so many ways that this North Georgia squad can beat you. It's really hard to just circle in on one player that's going to make you pay.
Number 2, Alex Clark. Assist goes to number 9, Chloe Diaz.
How about Chloe Diaz getting involved early here? A goal and an assist, and we're not even 10 minutes into this game, Devin.
Yeah, and we've seen a lot of good things out of this Nighthawk squad. We saw it yesterday, not yesterday, but last week in the home opener, and they've been doing a very good job at dispersing the talent, and because you had a lot of good seniors leave last year. I know I've already said that, but to have them come back and be able to perform and take that next level is something to see, because you kind of wondered going into this season, okay, you lost Maysoon El Shami, you lost Ariel Arnoff, and you're like, okay, and Bailey Vessel, you lost a lot of good players, and it looks like they're able to hold their own this year and might even be better.
Yeah, we just have a small sample size, just a couple games here in 2024, but looks like some of the trends from North Georgia's team last year carrying over into this season when it comes to the variety of players who can score the ball and just make you pay. Coming into today, North Georgia had 4 goals, they're coming from 3 different players. All 4 of those goals assisted by different players too, and as we're seeing in today's game, 2 goals, 2 different players. This team can beat you in so many ways, and it really makes them difficult to stop. Yeah,
and this Nighthawk squad is dynamic, and they've shown that in pretty much every game they've played this season so far, and that's what their key to success is.
Nighthawks are pushed back a little bit to their defense here with Michael Fruits. This is taken away. Clark tried to get possession. This one stays on the turf, rolls right to the feet of Sierra Fowler. Like we mentioned in that opener, 2024 PBC preseason all-conference selection for Sierra Fowler. All-American first team, all-region first team, all-conference first team for Fowler in 2023. She may be tested here as the shot is off the mark there from Young Harris. Had a good look there for the Mountain Lions. Couldn't come away with anything, but that one doesn't look like it went off the fingertips of Fowler. So that shot from Rose is going to result in a goal kick here for Fowler. As it looks like Young Harris is going to make an early substitution here in this one. It's going to be Shania Harris stepping onto the field. Senior midfielder, transfer from Daytona State College. As we're going to have a whistle here from the ref. And Harris will make her way back off the field. Maybe it was a little bit early with substitution. No, she just had to throw something over to the sideline, over to her bench, and we are ready to go here.
Stepping on for the Mountain Lions, number 8, Shania Harris.
Again, Nighthawks are on the run, and the ball is up in the air. Oh, man, that was another close call here for the Mountain Lions. North Georgia.
Got to be careful in that situation there, because the Mountain Lions are putting themselves in another dangerous situation. You know North Georgia can score. They've already dropped 2 on you early in this one.
And we're going to have a whistle and a foul go against Young Harris and Rose. As that ball is deflected. Nighthawks now push back over to Watry.
Young Harris last year, Shania Harris, midfielder, his first team Conference Carolina player, and they had 2 second teams. Or excuse me, Shania Harris was the second team, and then Charlotte Brown was first team last year. So you got some decent talent on the Young Harris squad, because the previous year in 2022 they didn't have any first, second, or third team selections in Conference Carolina play.
Yeah, they definitely took a big step up last year, and like you said, Devin, Harris is a big returner for Young Harris here in 2024. Had 7 goals across 18 games in 2024. Like you said, made the all-conference second team. We have a lot of important returners on this squad as this shot is hitting the crossbar and stays in play. My goodness, that would have been a Sports Center top 10 highlight there on that shot if that went in.
Yeah, we'll take a look at that again. As we see it there. Just went high in the air right off that crossbar.
Another close call here for Young Harris as it's going to result in another goal kick for Pieser and Young Harris. Here is Wheeler with the defender on her, tries to get it to an open Odinger. Odinger trying to find Watry again. Here's Wheeler near the sideline, and she crosses it in, and that's going right into the hands of Pieser. Historically, this matchup between North Georgia and Young Harris has favored the Nighthawks. 13-1 against the Mountain Lions all time, currently on a 7-game winning streak dating back to 2017. They've done a great job of defending home turf against Young Harris. 8-0 all time against the Mountain Lions here in Dahlonega.
It's really a tale of two different programs we see here because, you got the women's soccer team has that all that dominance against Young Harris, but then it's the complete opposite when it comes to the men's side of things. So, that's a lot of where this rivalry is deeply entrenched here in the North Georgia mountains.
And, of course, the advantage both teams have playing today, playing at home at the UNG soccer field at Lynn Control Park in Dahlonega. Both teams have been very successful over the last few years here at home. Both the men's and the women's soccer teams going undefeated at home during the regular season in 2023. There's just something different about playing in front of the Nighthawk faithful here on your home turf, and they really step it up a notch when they're playing here in Dahlonega.
Yeah, I had the chance to go out to an away game, which was the first round of the NCAA tournament. Different atmosphere, and you could tell that there was less Nighthawk fans in attendance there, and the pressure was on, and at the same time dealing with injuries, but North Georgia able to prevail in situations like that. But you'd much rather hopefully be home for the postseason this year, and we'll see what happens. It'll come down to the line with Columbus State.
That shot off the mark from Nina Lopez, resulting in another free kick here for the Mountain Lions. North Georgia women's soccer went on the road last year to take on Young Harris. Came away with the 2-0 win on the road. That game had a bit of a rain delay, about 30 to 45 minutes, I would say, last year, and Nighthawks were up 1-0 before that delay. Had a PK from Maysoon El Shami to go up 1-0 in that one, and then eventually ended up with the 2-0 win after the rain delay. That was their 7th win in a row against Young Harris. As a Mountain Lion hits the turf, ball is going to roll out of play, and the Nighthawks will throw in right in front of their bench.
Yeah, and that game last year was played on a Sunday, and any of the Young Harris games that we faced off against, whether it was basketball or soccer last season, thus being, Young Harris's first year out of the Peach Belt Conference, all of them were somehow played on a Sunday. I know you were there on site last year for the doubleheader for North Georgia and Young Harris when it came to soccer. I know that was quite an interesting day for you, especially with all the weather out there.
Yeah, it was definitely an interesting experience last year. Going over to Young Harris and seeing the Nighthawks play on the road. It's always fun to see North Georgia in a road matchup. The Nighthawk fans travel well, especially to Young Harris. Just a 59-minute trip from Dahlonega. As we're going to have a whistle for, I believe, offsides here. Like we mentioned, just a short trip for Young Harris down to Dahlonega. Only about 6 minutes away from the Tennessee state border.
Yeah, it's kind of kind of up there in that area towards Hiawassee and Blairsville and Blue Ridge up there. Beautiful area, part of North Georgia if you've ever been up there. Not far from Blood Mountain, I believe, is Bell Mountain, one of the highest peaks in
Another
Georgia.
opportunity is saved by Peaster. As this ball rolls out of play, and it's going to be North Georgia's ball. Could potentially get a far throw-in over there in the corner, or it is going to be a throw-in over there on the right side. Couple of sweet moves there from the Nighthawks as they send that one in. It's headed out of there by the Mountain Lions. Gets back to Watry. Now to Wheeler, who leaves it for an open Watry. Watry will try to send it in, and nobody home there for North Georgia. This ball is just going to bounce out of play, resulting in another goal kick here for Peaster. As we are going to have a substitution on the field for Young Harris. A couple of early subs here for Coach Allen and the Mountain Lions.
Stepping on for the Mountain Lions, number 28, Vic Shanahan.
And it's number 28, Vic Shanahan, stepping on for Young Harris. Senior midfielder out of Marietta, Georgia, and Hillgrove High School. Now with 27 minutes remaining, North Georgia still with a 2-0 lead over Young Harris. Couple early goals here from the Nighthawks has built up this cushion for them here in this first half.
Yeah, and Young Harris, one thing they got to start doing is getting that ball moved on the opposite side of the field, because it's been pretty much all North Georgia the whole game.
Another good opportunity here as the shot's off the hands of Peaster. Cruz took the shot, as that's going to be sent away by Young Harris. And what a few days it's been for Blanca Cruz. The Peach Belt Conference Player of the Week, played 9 minutes in the season opener for UNG, and in her Nighthawk debut, came into the game in the 24th minute against Limestone on Sunday. Found the back of the net just 5 minutes into that game.
I was talking to one of the UNG women's soccer players last week after the game, and what she told me was that a lot of the freshmen, the young players on the team are the ones that are really stepping up, and that's always a good thing to have the youth not only step up but play good as well.
Absolutely. A lot of new faces on this North Georgia roster, but they have been stepping up big. Cruz is one of them. Like we mentioned, found the back of the net just 5 minutes into the game against Limestone back on Sunday. Got the start in the second half from Coach Ralton, and again, scored a goal within the first few minutes of stepping onto the field to lead North Georgia to a 2-0 win and earning the Peach Belt Conference Player of the Week award because of her efforts. And that's a historic award for Cruz, making history early here in her North Georgia career. First UNG freshman to score 2 goals since Katie Durkay did it in 2019. First Nighthawk to earn PBC Player of the Week since Taylor Malasek in 2021. Sierra Fowler has won the Goalkeeper of the Week in the Peach Belt Conference since then, had a couple last year.
A lot of those names you mentioned there, Katie Durkay, Taylor Malasek, they were both UNG soccer legends, part of this program. And it's good to see those new players, not 5-10 years down the line, get those awards.
Yeah, it's pretty good company to be in if you're Blanca Cruz, like you said, Devin, with 2 of the best women's soccer players in North Georgia history. As this is going to be just kicked out of bounds here by Cruz, and it's going to be another goal kick for Peaster. But still, North Georgia's been applying the pressure here in this first half. It's been all Nighthawks through these first 25 minutes.
Yeah, and it seems like the defensive strategy might have switched a little bit when it came inside the box. A little bit more heads up and smarter decisions, and making sure to protect that goal a little bit better than what we saw earlier in the game by Young Harris.
Watry takes it away. She's got some room to work, leaves it for a streaking Odinger. Odinger will cross it in. That's kicked out of there by Young Harris. Gets back over to Watry. Young Harris trying to find Harris on that one, but again, this Nighthawks defense swarming one of the best players on this Young Harris squad and take care of her. They're going to look for another opportunity trying to find Harris on the through ball. Yeah, it's been a sensational start to Blanca Cruz's career, like we said, and she's also the first freshman since Samantha Abrahart in 2010 to earn the Peach Belt Conference Player of the Week award. Just the fourth freshman in UNG history to earn the award, and Cruz has quickly established herself as a force to be reckoned with on this North Georgia squad. As Fowler gets this one past midfield. As we will have a whistle and a foul going against Young Harris. Betsy Boo gets the whistle. Got a great crowd on hand for tonight's doubleheader. North Georgia men's soccer team is in attendance. They have their matchup with Young Harris coming up right after this one at around 7 p.m. And of course, these nighttime games are always just such a treat to have here, Devin, at the UNG soccer field. When the lights come on here in Dahlonega, there's really nothing better playing under the lights here at the UNG soccer field.
Any of the outdoor sports here, the soccer games are normally the ones that go into the night hours here in Dahlonega, so it's always a little bit of a special treat to see them under the lights. Prime time, Wednesday night soccer or Saturday soccer, it's always a treat. And, you know, the athletic department does a very good job here at hosting various events throughout the season, not only for just soccer, but the other sports as well. They do a very good job, Spirit Night, all that type of stuff. They kind of make it more than just the game. It feels like you're a part of an event. Absolutely. It's definitely an experience, a good one at that, if you come to a North Georgia-hosted event here at any of our venues, whether you're talking about Haynes and Carolyn Hill or Bob Stein, the UNG soccer field, Lynn Cottrell Arena. Nighthawks are going to throw in front of Young Harris's bench. Have not seen any subs from Coach Ralton yet. As we're going to have a whistle going against North Georgia. Mountain Lions trying to track this down, but Watry is there. Here is Castle, and this is going right to the hands of Sierra Fowler. Comes a few steps up out of the box to make the grab. And Fowler, she just has extremely quick instincts, some of the best in the Peach Belt Conference, always on the same page with her back line, and this North Georgia defense has been consistently tops in the Peach Belt Conference. Yeah, we saw the loss of Bailey Vessel, who is the Peach Belt Conference Defender of the Year last year for women's soccer, and so far throughout the season, North Georgia has done a very good job defensively with the absence of Bailey Vessel. Absolutely. Only allowing one goal on the year so far. Yeah, that one goal coming in the season opener for North Georgia. Had a shutout in their last matchup against Limestone on the road. Sierra Fowler getting back to what she does best, which is shutting out opponents. Clark was trying to apply the pressure. The ball gets back to her. That's just cleared away by Young Harris. That ball takes an awkward roll, though. Gets back to Adlai Wheeler. And we're going to have a whistle going against Wheeler, who hit the turf, and she's a little slow to get up, maybe a bit shaken up here, as we are going to have a stoppage of time, and the trainers here are looking to come out onto the field, and
The trainers are going to come out onto the field as the Nighthawks are waving them on here.
Yeah, hopefully everything's okay with Wheeler. She's been an incredible asset for the North Georgia soccer program. Saw her affect her play last year with the team that made it to the second round.
Yeah, Wheeler, a massive part of this North Georgia squad. A preseason all-conference selection in the Peach Belt Conference, a all-region second team, PBC all-conference second team member. She's been an integral part of this North Georgia squad for the last couple of seasons, and she's now down on the turf here for North Georgia. And it's always tough to see these sorts of injuries in soccer, Devin. Players constantly hitting the turf, such a physical sport, and we say multiple times a game, there's always players who are down on the ground and bodies hitting the turf.
But you know what? For the players that were on this team last year, you had stuff, maybe not to this extent or to this less of extent as she's getting up here. But, this team last year, adversity was the name of the game late in the season. Maysoon El Shami goes down in the Peach Belt Conference Tournament Championship last year. And then in the first round of the NCAA tournament, you have Ariel Arnoff go down. So you had two of your best players go down in a stretch of 2 games at the very end of the season when, you need your players out there. And, we saw the adjustment in that first game against Wingate last season. Bailey Vessel, the Defender of the Year, getting the lone goal in regulation. And then Sierra Fowler, the goalkeeper, kicking the game-winning goal in PKs. But, this is what that team is. Coach Ralton, Coach Merlette, they know what to do in these situations, and they were able to do it last year.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about that next man up mentality for the Nighthawks. When a player goes down, somebody is going to step up in the absence of that player. And like you mentioned, Devin, Wheeler able to thankfully walk off of the field under her own pressure, but she was definitely shaken up on that play. And both teams will step back onto the field. And it's going to be Sam Cottle stepping on for Wheeler, freshman forward out of LaGrange, Georgia. She was a scoring machine back in high school, scored 60 goals, 30 assists during her high school career, totaled 74 points in just 2023 alone. 5th most in the Georgia Class 4A. As Watry tries to get it into Cottle, resulting in a throw here for the Mountain Lions. As we have a whistle going against Young Harris. Nighthawks still keeping the pressure on. It's been mostly action going on this right side of your screen for a majority of the game, as Young Harris tries to get this one past midfield over to the feet of Treadwell. North Georgia already with 7 shots in this one. Young Harris just 1 so far in this first half. Also 3 corners for the Nighthawks here in the first 45. Young Harris still looking for their first. Ball bounces around between a couple Nighthawks and Mountain Lions, ends up back with Young Harris. As Arnoff tried to get a foot on it there, gets back to Fruits. Again, you can tell when Young Harris is on this left side of the field, they're really trying to find Shania Harris here, but again, this North Georgia back line has just done a great job of keeping her quiet for the most part here in this first half.
And last year, if you look at Young Harris women's soccer schedule, really the beginning part of the year wasn't in their favor. It wasn't until they got to the Conference Carolinas part of the schedule where things started picking up for them. So 8 of their 9 wins came in the Conference Carolinas last year.
Cottle will Try to cross this one into the box. Had to make a long run down to chase the ball there, and Watry will try to send it in. That's cleared by Young Harris. Young Harris working the ball around here on the right side of the screen. Somebody else that Young Harris is going to try to get involved here in this matchup has to be Morgan Castle, another top returning player for this Young Harris squad. Nighthawks, good opportunity here with Clark. Some fancy moves right off the hands of Young Harris, and they're going to have another opportunity here. Ball is still alive in the box, and the Nighthawks lose it. Diaz had it for a moment. Clark had another good look there. And Young Harris can hold their breath for the moment, but they are on a little bit of a breakaway here.
Yeah, it was a good block by the goalkeeper there. Bounced back into play. And they were doing a very good job at protecting that interior box.
That's now the 5th save for McKenna Peaster in this matchup. Have faced 8 shots so far. Young Harris has, compared to just 1 against North Georgia. As Lopez finds an open Cottle. Cottle, she's got room to work, keeps us on the ground, and that's deflected. Another save by Peaster. But the Nighthawks are really putting Peaster to work here in this first half.
Yeah, as we take a look back at that, Peaster is doing a good job at holding the Nighthawks at bay over the past couple of shots on goal. So, that's what you want to do to stop the bleeding in a way, in which they have been able to do that past 20 minutes.
Corner stays on the ground for North Georgia. Clark kicks it back, and another cross is in. This ball bounces around. The header is over the goal by Cottle. Another good look, but this is going to result in a goal kick here for Young Harris, as they're going to make another substitution here in this first half. As Moore steps onto the field for Young Harris. About 13:45 remaining here in this first half. North Georgia, a couple goals early on in this one to start it out. It's been about 20 or so minutes without a goal so far, and we're going to have another whistle and a foul. This one going against North Georgia.
Key for Young Harris is getting a goal before reaching halftime. That'd be big. Put them, not to say that they're out of this one, but that would put them in a much better position.
And we're going to have offsides called on North Georgia. Cottle had an open lane to the goal, but it's going to result in offsides here for the Nighthawks.
Yeah, tough break there. Would have been a good opportunity for Cottle. Got herself a goal there, as it was going to be one-on-one with the goalkeeper.
Here is Clark. Leaves it for Aronoff. Ball bounces around, cleared by Harris. Gets back to midfield with Treadwell. And Young Harris takes it away. Mountain Lions are on the move here with Rose, a sweet move. And she takes the shot, easily collected by Sierra Fowler. But that was impressive footwork there by the sophomore midfielder.
Let's take a look back at that. Able to fake out Allie Treadwell there.
Nighthawks find Diaz. They've got some, almost had something going there with Cottle. You can really tell that they're trying to feed her in this first half ever since she came into the game. And Peaster comes far out from the box on that one, as we're going to have some North Georgia substitutions. A couple of Nighthawks coming in late here in this first half.
Stepping on for the Nighthawks, a freshman from Fort Worth, Texas, number 7, Campbell
And it's
Young.
going to be Campbell Young and Megan O'Brien stepping into the game.
From Cincinnati, Ohio, number 11, Megan O'Brien.
Young, a freshman defender out of Fort Worth, Texas. O'Brien, a senior midfielder out of Cincinnati, Ohio. Nighthawks will throw in just behind the light post. This ball sent into the clouds. Stays in play, and Arnoff applying the pressure. This ball is out of bounds on Young Harrison. That's a great possession that may not show up in the box score for Arnoff, but that's still a great hustle play there from her. Now with 10 minutes remaining here in this first half, Young Harris looking to take one back from North Georgia. And again, Young Harris pushed back. Here is Lopez trying to find Diaz. North Georgia started this season ranked as the 24th team in the nation, and have since moved up after their 2-0 start, now to 22nd in the country. They consistently find themselves ranked in the top 25, especially since Coach Ralton has been there.
North Georgia last year got as high as ranked as, I believe it was 15th or 16th last year. They had a big-time matchup here at Lake Cottrell Park against Flagler.
Yeah, that game ending in a 2-2 matchup, or a 2-2 tie, I should say, between North Georgia and Flagler. And the Nighthawks held their own. Flagler, one of the top-ranked teams in the country at the time. Both of those North Georgia goals coming from Ariel Arnoff. That was a very exciting game to be at, even though it ended in a tie. Still a great performance from North Georgia.
Yeah, it was.
And the shot off the fingertips and into the back of the net. A fantastic shot there by Nina Lopez. That tremendous strike puts North Georgia up 3-0. And Devin, that's another example of a Nighthawk, a new face on this North Georgia squad, stepping up big here for her 2024 team.
Yeah, and that was a great shot by her, Nina Lopez, establishing her name here in Dahlonega. She's done a very good job on this Nighthawk squad this year.
That's Nina Lopez's second goal here in her freshman season, and
goal scored by number
of course,
13, Nina
everybody expected
Lopez.
Nina Lopez to be sensational here with North Georgia. She's been named the Girls Soccer Player of the Year multiple times by multiple different outlets: Florida Today, Breakfast of Champions, Brevard Sports Network, and she, in her first few games as a Nighthawk, has really made a name for herself.
Yeah, and that's what you want to see, is those impact type of players. I mentioned, I know I'm going to keep bringing it up, but the fact that you had a lot of great seniors on this UNG women's soccer squad leave after last year, and we're starting to see they're just immediately filling the role, and they're doing a good job at that too. Whereas you were probably looking at the end of last season, was like, okay, well, where's this program going to go? Are they going to just take a little bit of a step back for 1 year and then, blossom the next year with the loss of the great senior talent that we had? But it looks like they're not missing a beat right now, and they're right back at it.
Absolutely, and Coach Ralton doesn't want to have a transition year here with North Georgia. They are picking up right where they left off in 2023, and even though they are a bit of a younger squad this year, they are still playing as good as ever. Here is O'Brien trying to work around the defender, has it taken away.
That's a good thing in college athletics. If it's a young squad and it's good, that's great. That's good all around, meaning that you're going to have your players around much longer. I mean, you kind of look at baseball this year, Robert. I mean, for most of the season, you had a lot of the young players, Noah Darden, Andrew Zopada, Kyle Robish, how those players step up this year. And, you know, we kind of saw the results early on in the season, how they did. And you're kind of seeing that here, except it's at a little bit of a higher level here, and instead of making a jump, it's keeping the same pace compared to last season.
Absolutely. The future is bright for North Georgia women's soccer, and I mean, really the future is now. You know, top 25 team in the nation, and they are looking like a force to be reckoned with this season.
And it was a historic season for athletics overall last year. Men's basketball, what they did, softball for, you know, another great season, defending the national championship.
Nighthawks with another good opportunity here. O'Brien takes the shot. She is going to be tripped up. We're going to have a stoppage of time. North Georgia is going to make some substitutions. It's a couple new Nighthawks step onto the field. And these are the kinds of games that you want to see if you're Coach Ralton. A lot of Nighthawks seeing some opportunities here in this matchup.
Nighthawks, a sophomore from Decula, Georgia, number 6, Ashley Sumrall.
Ashley Sumrall on the field for North
also
Georgia.
A freshman from Duluth, Georgia, number 20, Malia Burks.
Malia Burks now on the field for the Nighthawks as well.
Emma Martin.
And Emma Martin. Nighthawks with another corner opportunity here with 5:45 remaining. They really favored that left side, that right corner, I should say, over there on the right side of your screen. As the ref having a quick discussion here with a couple players on the field. Clock resumes and the corner is sent in, trying to find O'Brien. Ball bounces out of play, and it's going to be a goal kick here for Young Harris. Now with 5.5 minutes remaining until halftime, until our halftime break, but you are going to want to stick around for that halftime show, as we're going to have a very special guest joining the broadcast for halftime. You know him, you love him, from the men's soccer team, Max Garnett is going to be joining us here on the broadcast to talk shop with us for a few minutes during the halftime break. And Devin, Max is, you know, you could really call him Mr. UNG.
Yeah, he does a lot of great things for not just only, you know, men's soccer, but also outside stuff. UNG FCA does a very great job with that program as well. And I'm excited to hear what analysis he has to give of this first half between North Georgia and Young Harris in the Battle of Blood Mountain. I'm excited for the halftime segment.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you follow any of North Georgia's athletics social media accounts, you will definitely have seen Max Garnett in some shape or form, whether it's, you know, a photo of him on the field locking up opposing teams, or he's scoring a goal, or maybe, you know, for another athletic program here in the stands, cheering him on, one of the leaders for the Blue Crew and the UNG men's and women's basketball games. He is really active on campus, like you said, involved with FCA along with a handful of other things, so it's definitely going to be exciting to have him on the broadcast and be able to chat for a few minutes. Now under 4 minutes to play, North Georgia with a nice 3-0 cushion over Young Harris. Ball's pushed back to Burks. Burks, a freshman defender out of Duluth and Peachtree Ridge High School. And Burks, an interesting player, competed in high school football America League as the two-time team captain for the girls flag football team. Dual sport athlete Burks is, and the Atlanta Falcons named her the Atlanta Falcons Trailblazer of the Year for her outstanding impact on the field and in the community.
It's pretty cool. Pretty cool deal there, getting recognized by a National Football League team.
Absolutely. Flag football is another one of those sports that's been on the rise over the last few years. Burke's making a name for herself in multiple sports. You can see some of the skills from flag football kind of translating over into soccer as well, with the quick instincts and trying to be quick on your feet. And speaking of quick on your feet, North Georgia trying to make something happen here, even with the 3-0 lead. Ball bounces right back to Young Harris and Pieser. Pieser's faced 11 shots here in this first half, 3 of which have gone into the back of the net. Collects it here, now with 2 minutes remaining. As she just sends this one away, bounces over to North Georgia's bench. Again, not surprising to see North Georgia really show out here at home under Coach Ralton. The Nighthawks are 19-4-4 at home during the regular season.
It's been almost 2 years since they've lost a regular season matchup. Nighthawks at home.
That same streak applied to North Georgia men's soccer. Had that broken by Converse this past weekend, so they're going to look to bounce back here against the Mountain Lions in their matchup at 7. Another good opportunity here for North Georgia. The shot is in. A spectacular finish from Odinger. The junior forward out of Roswell, Georgia, makes this a 4-0 game. The Nighthawks running away with it here in the first 45.
Yeah, and that was just a great play by Odinger. I mean, the feet, the movement. I mean, that's probably the best goal that's been, it's the most spectacular goal that's been scored all day for the Nighthawks. And, man, just sharing the love here in Dahlonega.
Yeah, 4 different goals today for North Georgia, all coming from 4 different players. Like you said, Devin, sharing the love here in Dahlonega, and it's all smiles on North Georgia's bench with 45 seconds to go here in the first 45 minutes.
Yeah, the pressure's been on Young Harris pretty much the entire game, and that's something, Robert, that they're going to have to work on coming out of halftime. I know it's been a struggle for Young Harris to even get a goal. They have yet to get a goal up on the board this season, but you know, you got to imagine that the top priority coming out of halftime is to go out and just at least get a goal on the board to somewhat bring you back into this one.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see who starts the second half for both squads. Could we potentially see some new goalkeepers in as well? We'll see if Coach Ralton maybe gives Sierra Fowler a rest in that second half. As the clock winds down here in the first 45, the Nighthawks dominating here in the first half, a 4-0 lead for North Georgia going into the locker room. It's been all smiles here for North Georgia as we head to our halftime break. Remember, you're going to want to stick around when we come back, as we are going to have special guest Max Garnett from the men's soccer team joining us in just a few moments. You're watching North Georgia Soccer on the Nighthawk Sports Network.
Open your camera app, frame the QR code located on the stadium sidewalk signage.
All right, show me how you did that again. I'm here.
You've got a lot of reasons to be here.
I'm here.
That's why we're here. At Georgia Heart Institute, our breakthroughs in artificial intelligence could accurately model and predict future heart problems decades in advance, so you can make plans today to be just where you're needed tomorrow.
Oh, I'm here.
The future of heart care. We're leading Georgia there. Georgia Heart Institute.
The road to national championships runs through NCAA.com. And whether you follow one college team or all of them, it's never been easier to get the content you want with NCAA.com, the home of college sports.
At the heart of America's gold rush stands a beacon of leadership, tradition, and excellence. A university that has always led the way, forging an environment for broad-based academics, world-class athletics, and tomorrow's military leaders. The University of North Georgia. Learning and leadership, passion and preparation, transformation and tradition. We are the University of North Georgia.
Welcome back to the Nighthawk Sports Network. Your score is 4-0 here in this Division II women's soccer matchup between the 22nd ranked team in the nation, North Georgia, taking on Young Harris in the Battle of Blood Mountain. And we have a very special guest on the broadcast. Like we said in the last 5 minutes of the first half, you know him, you love him. It's Max Garnett from the men's soccer team. Max, that first half, definitely a good one for North Georgia. If you have one word to describe that first half, what would you say?
Oh, in one word, I would describe that first half as spectacular, for sure.
I think that's a pretty good word. Spectacular, sensational first half from North Georgia. Of course, like we mentioned, you are a big supporter of the sports here at North Georgia. We always see you around campus, whether you're leading the Blue Crew or you're, on the sideline for a soccer game or a softball, baseball game. Is there a sport besides soccer that you enjoy going to the most and seeing the Nighthawks play?
Oh, basketball, men's and women's. Enjoy the game. I feel like it's pretty fairly close to soccer in a sense of how it's so free-flowing, back to forth. And I love all the basketball players, men's and women's. Love hanging out with them, love cheering them on, and love what they do here at UNG. Historically on the women's side, and last year the men's side doing an outstanding job making to the Elite Eight, and just able to cheer them on here at home in the Convo. And it's just an amazing time just getting in there, getting the crowd loud, having fun, and just watching some good old basketball.
Absolutely. And North Georgia, like you said, we had a historic season last year for really all of our programs, and they have just been really good over the last calendar year. And a lot of that's due to the fantastic crowds here. Of course, you leading a lot of those crowds in the Blue Crew, like we mentioned. Now, for this season, for this 2024 season, you mentioned just before we came back that you are having surgery next Friday. Going to keep you out for the 2024 season, but we saw in North Georgia's first game here for the men's soccer team against Converse, you were always up on the sideline. It looked like you were stepping into the game for most of the contest. How have you changed how you are contributing to the team here in 2024? We know that you're a force to be reckoned with on the field, one of the best defenders in the Peach Ball Conference, a 2024 PVC preseason all-conference member. So how have you kind of made that transition in 2024 to help out this soccer team in a different way from being on the field?
Well, I had to kind of assume the role of like a sideline leader. I'm one of the 4 captains on the team, and not being able to be a captain on the field, I had to assume my role on the sideline. And with having a big roster of 42 guys on the team, I think it's really important to just make sure everyone has someone. Everyone playing college sports is not an easy thing, whether that's the sport itself or just juggling all your things. So I just really took heart in kind of being there for everyone, especially the freshmen that we have coming in, because this is a whole new environment for them, making sure that they are looked after, have someone to look up to, and then mid-game going in, giving my insight to whoever's coming off the field, whoever's going in, giving them some advice, and just getting there and being there for them, I think is the biggest thing I could do.
Absolutely. You provide a lot of better leadership to this team. Lots of new faces on the men's soccer team, about 28 new players on Coach Lilich's squad. And the men's soccer team, they had a phenomenal year last year, went undefeated at home during the regular season here at Lincoln Trail Park. They have a matchup coming up right after this with Young Harris's men's soccer team. And the men's soccer team for North Georgia has struggled a bit against the Mountain Lions in the past few years or so. We were talking about the matchup just before we came back from commercial break. What are your predictions for the men's soccer game coming up here pretty soon?
Well, I think it's going to be a great game. I don't think it's going to be a 4-0 blowout either way. I think historically, like you mentioned, it's been hard against Young Harris in the Battle of Blood Mountain. But I think last year, us falling 2-1 and us being down to 10 men for a majority of the time and still nearly tying it at the very end and coming away with a win possibly. I think this year we have a great chance to put our name in the books and really show everyone that we have a good squad here and that we can compete with everyone in the Southeast.
Absolutely. It should be an exciting matchup here under the lights at Lynn Cottrell Park. Looking forward to that matchup for North Georgia men's soccer. Max, that is all the time that we have for this halftime break, but very glad to have you here for our break. Any final thoughts you want to leave the fans with before you head out?
No, just keep being great, supporting, and vamos Nighthawks.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Max, for joining us. It was an absolute pleasure. We will step aside for another short commercial break. When we come back, more North Georgia soccer coming your way on the Nighthawk Sports Network.
At the University of North Georgia, education is more than just a degree. That's why we understand student success is based on 4 interconnected pillars: academic achievement, sense of purpose, well-being, and belonging and engagement. Each pillar reinforces the others, forming the strong foundation that helps UNG students succeed during their time here. Academic achievement is what happens when students work hard and succeed in their studies. At UNG, no matter what degree you're pursuing, you'll receive support throughout your academic journey. We're here to assist with securing internships and study abroad opportunities, as well as other helpful resources like tutoring and advising to improve grades and prepare you for your future career. As a student, you develop a sense of purpose by exploring your unique strengths and personal values. This self-discovery happens when you join clubs, volunteer for community outreach, and participate in leadership activities. When you connect your strengths and values with your academic goals, you'll be able to make meaningful choices about your educational and career pathways. Well-being refers to the overall state of being healthy, happy, and prosperous. It's defined through 8 key dimensions: career, environmental, financial, intellectual, mental, physical, social, and spiritual well-being. When students maintain a healthy level of well-being across these areas, they can better manage stress and anxiety while enhancing their resilience and leadership abilities. Our Live Well UNG initiative promotes healthy behaviors and strategies for achieving overall well-being. We also understand the importance of belonging and engagement in fostering student success. This means feeling supported socially and connected to others on campus. From community building events to cohort programs and clubs, our goal is to make sure every student feels connected, valued, and empowered. At the heart of the University of North Georgia lies a commitment to academic excellence. It's about achieving dreams, finding purpose, enriching your well-being, and forging lifelong connections. Wherever you are in your educational journey, we are here to help you every step of the way.
Yep. We welcome you back to the UNG soccer field at Lynn Cottrell Park for half number 2 here in this matchup between the 22nd ranked team in the nation, North Georgia Nighthawks, and the Young Harris Mountain Lions. North Georgia with a dominant 4-0 lead here over the Mountain Lions. And Devin, we didn't really get to hear your thoughts during halftime on that first half from North Georgia. You really couldn't have asked for anything better, though, if you're Coach Relton.
Yeah, no, and going up against the rival in the Battle of the Blood Mountain, one of the most important matchups in the season when it kind of comes to, from the fan side of things and even internally, is this is a big matchup as these two schools are practically right down the road from each other. So it's a big game for both schools, and my halftime thoughts are going into the second half. Young Harris needs to put up a goal, I would say, very quickly to bring themselves, if they want to be back in this game in some shape or sort of fashion. They need to bring themselves in pretty much immediately, start applying that pressure to North Georgia. I know it's been tough, but, Young Harris, they're still looking for their first goal of the season.
And you can tell that they're definitely here in this second half, applying the pressure right out of the gate here on this North Georgia back line. And speaking of this North Georgia defense, we do have a new goalkeeper in for the Nighthawks, and it's going to be 00 Faith Bully, junior out of Savannah, Georgia, and Savannah Christian, two-time PBC Presidential Honor Roll Silver Scholar, a D288 Academic Achievement Award member, and she's appeared in 4 games for UNG during her career. Started 2 games 2 years ago, back in 2022, and Devin, in all 4 of her appearances, UNG has not lost a game.
Yeah, and it's a good luck charm there. And
another good opportunity here for North Georgia, as we are going to have no call. A couple bodies hit the turf in the box. North Georgia trying to respond to this pressure here from Young Harris early in this second half. As this ball is crossed in, headed out of there by the Mountain Lions. But these are the kinds of games that you want to see if you're Coach Relton. Having a lot of players, get action here. Some of these players making their Nighthawk debuts, their 2024 debuts. Faith Bullied, one of them making her 2024 debut.
And in a game like this is the perfect opportunity to do it because, you're up 4 goals. Young Harris has yet to score a goal in this one. So there's a little bit of leeway in here. You can put your backups in there, get more in-game experience, get ready for any potential adversity you might face later in the season, potentially injuries. So it's a good time to get the players get the players that aren't normally playing, get them some playing time in this game, and hopefully if you score 2 goals, that's great. Just make sure the game doesn't get out of hand with the backups in, but this is a good opportunity for those players that are normally on the bench to get some good experience.
Absolutely, and
it's in a regular season game and not a scrimmage.
Absolutely, and like we mentioned, there are a lot of new faces on this North Georgia squad. On a recent episode of UNG Athletics' new show, The Hawk's Nest, our Director of Communications, Brendan Shabath, he sat down with Coach Relton, and she talked about the balance this team has between the new faces and the returning faces. Lots of talent on this North Georgia squad, and also a balance between knowing when to be competitive and to be serious, and also knowing when to have fun and to never lose sight of that. And you can definitely tell they're having a ton of fun here in this one.
Yeah, and it's always good in the Battle of Blood Mountain if you can go up. go up big against Young Harris. That's always a good thing.
Absolutely. And for those of you who are unaware of what the Battle of Blood Mountain is, North Georgia and Young Harris used to both be members of the Peach Belt Conference. Young Harris has since left for the Conference Carolinas, but every single year, whenever North Georgia and Young Harris would match up against one another, didn't matter what sport it was, those wins for either North Georgia or Young Harris would be tallied up into a final point total, and essentially whichever school had the most wins across all the sports that they shared during a season, during a one full calendar year, they would be crowned champions of Battle of Blood Mountain, and the visiting school, or the opposing school, the school that lost, their athletic director would have to come to the opposing school and present the opposing school with the Battle of Blood Mountain trophy, also wearing the opposing team's school colors.
Yeah, wish it was still mostly around.
Nighthawks again applying the pressure here as Morgan had possession of the ball for just a moment. Like we said when we opened up this game, Devin, even though there technically is no more Battle of Blood Mountain on paper and no more rotating trophy, these two teams are still very much rivals when it comes to all the sports that these two programs or these two universities share.
Yeah, I remember baseball, that always being a big game. North Georgia versus Young Harris. You had the big-time series back in 2017 when the team made the NCAA tournament. That was a big year for the Battle of Blood Mountain because those two teams, out of any of the teams that played each other, Young Harris, North Georgia, those are the two that normally got I guess you could say the most heated out of the bunch, but it's sad to see the Battle of Blood Mountain go. Young Harris leaving the Peach Belt Conference, but, credit to both coaching staffs, North Georgia on the men's and women's soccer, and same thing for Young Harris as well, for keeping this tradition alive on the soccer side of things.
As this ball is tossed in front of North Georgia's bench, like we mentioned in the Battle of Blood Mountain, the losing school's athletic director would have to present the trophy while wearing the opposing team's colors, and thankfully we never had to send our athletic director, Miss Mary Rob Plunkett, or our former athletic director, Lindsay Reeves, over to Young Harris to present the Battle of Blood Mountain trophy. North Georgia has won the Battle of Blood Mountain every year that it was instituted between the two schools.
Yeah, and it was always a cool tradition to see the students come out. That always being the biggest game normally of the year. I mean, you talk to a lot of the former athletes, you ask them, talk to some of the seniors last year, ask them, hey, what's the biggest game of the year for you guys? And they say, it's not Columbus State, it's like Young Harris normally. Ask baseball that question too.
Absolutely. Columbus State has become, over the last couple years or so, a pretty big rival for North Georgia with, baseball had a big series against them last year. Of course, softball has their history with them in the Peach Belt Conference tournament as well, and they have really emerged as North Georgia's probably their biggest rival within the Peach Belt Conference. But when you want to talk about just in general, just in region, I'd say Young Harris takes the cake.
Yeah, Young Harris definitely does, but, if you look at the who's taken over, it'd be Columbus State. Look at what happened last year between these two programs.
And Kamora Hall had the ball for a moment, and a great play from behind that Adoria Sanders made, as Hall had all sorts of room, but she was tracked down by the defender there.
Young Harris doing a decent job this half to kind of put things more in their direction. See North Georgia not really being on the left side of the field as much as they were in the beginning of the game or in the first half of the game.
Yeah, this is really the first time that we've seen here over these first about 10 minutes or so in the second half that North Georgia has really applied any pressure to Young Harris.
Number 3, Emma Hodges, and number 18, Emily Brenneman.
Emily Brenneman and Emma Hodges stepping onto the field for Young Harris. And like we mentioned for North Georgia, a lot of players, able to see action in this game. And a good takeaway here from Young Harris as well, if they're unable to come away with the win in this one, is Coach Allen gets to see what some of his players are made of, a little bit deeper into his bench, see what he has on his squad. And, if anybody puts up a good performance here against North Georgia, they could see some more consistent playing time throughout the 2024 season.
Yeah, and you look at last year for Young Harris, this year they obviously haven't gotten a goal yet this season, but it doesn't. What it appears like is maybe they're not a strong-facing, front-loaded, and they're more back-loaded to the schedules when they get better. Because you look at all their wins last year. 8 out of the 9 wins came in conference play. It wasn't until Carolina Conference play came in where started winning the games. Because last year they were an above 500 program, and I believe that they're probably going to head that way. They, maybe they're just trying to get adjusted to the season. Because think about it. They had a couple of. We listed those 3 conference selected players last year for Young Harris. All of them returning back, and I think it'll take time once they get to Conference Carolina play, because they finished second. Because how Conference Carolina is set up, they finished second in there because they're split up into 3 divisions. They finished second in the Northwest Division, and Young Harris will come along as they get closer to conference play.
Like you said, Devin, they did have a great season last year, finished second in their division in the Conference Carolinas, and once they get to their back half of the schedule, start to play some games at home over there in Young Harris, you could definitely see that record turn around for the Mountain Lions. And a lot of returning talent coming back on this team, like we mentioned in that first half. Morgan Castle returning for Young Harris, along with Shania Harris, another big returner. Had 7 goals last year, made the CC All-Conference second team. And a great takeaway there from Hall. Had it for a moment, ran into Gracie Smith, who's there to take it away. Hall still putting the pressure on this back line for Young Harris. Hall, a freshman out of Frisco, Texas, one of 3 UNG freshmen coming from Texas, along with Campbell Young and Emma Moreau. Second team All-District in Frisco last season. Played with FC's Dallas in the Elite Club, a National League Recreational League on the club circuit. Was a 3-time national champion with that club. And we are going to have a stoppage of time, and a yellow card is going to be assessed to Shania Harris. A little too aggressive there on the contact, as we have a stoppage of time, and a Nighthawk is down. Athletic trainers will come out on the field once again.
Shania Harris.
Yeah, hopefully everything's okay on there. That was pretty brutal contact.
Hard to tell who hit the turf on that play exactly. May have been a little bit of a frustration play from Harris. Team down a handful of goals in this one. They really tried to feed her, like we said in that first half. She was definitely their number 1 target to try to feed Mountain Lions were, and she had a couple of opportunities, but again, this North Georgia back line just did a good job of containing one of the best players on this Young Harris roster.
Yeah, and it's just been kind of that domination throughout the whole game that we've seen, Robert. You see Coach Ralton coming out here, check on the injured Nighthawk, but it's just been complete domination here. And Young Harris, I think they're starting to adjust a little bit.
That was Chloe Diaz who had hit the turf on that yellow card. She's able to get up and make her way off the field. A good sign there. We did not see Adlai Wheeler to start this second half. And if this game continues to play out like the way it has, can't imagine we'll see much of her, if not any more of her, in this matchup with how the Nighthawks have been dominating as Megan O'Brien steps into the game for Diaz.
Yeah, and for a team that struggles with scoring goals, North Georgia will be okay the rest of the night. We just, hope everything's okay for the rest of the season with Diaz, a very valuable piece on this Nighthawk squad. But North Georgia, they
Also
built
on
that
the Nighthawks, a
4-0 lead over.
Georgia, number 21, Angie Garcia.
Free kick from Fruits, headed out of there. Nighthawks tried to follow up on the play. Good thing about Diaz is she was able to get up on her own feet on that one. As we approach 33 minutes left here in this matchup. Like we mentioned in that first half, the goal distribution, just like last year, is on full display for North Georgia. 4 goals, all coming from different players. Alex Clark recorded a goal, Diaz, Odinger, and Lopez, all recording goals in the first 45 minutes. Diaz also with an assist in this one, a goal and an assist. So she has been very busy in this matchup, but can't imagine we'll see her for the rest of this game with the way it's been playing out for North Georgia.
Yeah, and it's just been a good job all around for the Nighthawks tonight. And, you know, not to be superstitious or anything, Robert, but the lone loss, take a guess what day of the week it came for North Georgia against Young Harris.
Oh, was it a Wednesday? Was it a Wednesday?
It was.
Game?
Came on Wednesday, September 27th, 2017. Now, that game was on the road at Young Harris. Bailey Roche scored a goal in the 4th minute. And then there was another goal in the 55th minute by Bailey Roche in that one to win it 2-0 over North Georgia on September 27th, 2017. So, gosh, it's over almost 7 years now since Young Harris has picked up a win against this Nighthawk squad.
Yeah, it's definitely favored North Georgia in the all-time matchups against Young Harris. They have, like you said, been undefeated against the Mountain Lions since 2017. 8-0 all-time against the Mountain Lions here in Dahlonega, and 13-1 overall. As we're going to have a whistle going against Young Harris. Mountain Lions are still rolling with Peaster in goal. As we're going to have a stoppage of time here, and Hall looks to be a little bit confused by the stoppage of time. As we will resume play, this will be a foul on North Georgia, so it is Young Harris's ball. Megan O'Brien trying to make something happen here as she finds Hall in the box as she leaves it, and the shot just a wee bit too strong there from Charlie Morgan.
Yeah, that was just a little too high there. But it was a good effort all around as we take a look at that replay here. So close. Put that 5th goal up on the board. It's been a nice one indeed.
Charlie Morgan, a freshman from Alta Vista, Virginia. One of 4 Nighthawks outside the state. The shot, another one that soars high. This time it's Hall trying to get in on the action, and they've really been applying the pressure here in the second half. Really in the last 5 minutes, it's been all North Georgia, Devin.
Yeah, and that's a thing. We kind of saw that adjustment from Young Harris where things were moving towards more, towards their side of the field, and now North Georgia just kind of regaining
Morgan
back in control.
Takes the shot as she puts it in. Charlie Morgan, the freshman from Alta Vista, Virginia, records her first goal as a Nighthawk, and a big one to put North Georgia up 5-0 here in the Battle of Blood Mountain.
Yeah, and as we take a look at the replay here, just right in there.
Yeah, she snuck it in on that right side of the net. Right past Young Harris, and it's been all smiles here on the bench and on the field here for the Nighthawks.
Nighthawk goal scored by number 17, Charlie Morgan.
That was a great look that Charlie Morgan had. She played for the Skyline Elite Soccer Club, as a scary moment there for Young Harris. This could have easily been a 6-0 game. This ball just kind of gingerly bounces out of play.
And we're at a point in this game that, maybe that might have been Young Harris's last breath when it came to, putting it all in there, because everything was dominated by North Georgia, and we kind of saw maybe just a slight shift here in the second half, but, North Georgia just right back into it now, and maybe Young Harris might be a little gasped with North Georgia getting back-to-back shots on goal.
Would you look at that, the fifth goal for North Georgia scored by a fifth different Nighthawk. Again, just, it's just a testament to how talented this North Georgia team is, as Emma Moreau had a little bit of a breakaway there. Another North Georgia player from Texas, like we mentioned earlier. And it's always great to see, the pull that some of these coaches have, especially, Coach Ralton, where you look at a lot of, schools within the Peach Belt Conference. You see a lot of players from in the state, a lot of local players as well. And you do see that with North Georgia, a lot of players, their hometowns, Cumming or Alpharetta, not too far here from Dahlonega or Marietta. But when you find those, few players that are outside of the state, it really just goes to show you, the pull that some of the coaches have here at North Georgia.
Yeah, and it's always a good thing to be able to recruit locally. Everybody's at home. Instead of having somebody from Colorado or California or Texas or something like that, that's one thing that they're always good to do, is identifying good local talent. And that's what makes up a lot of the North Georgia rosters in the various different athletic sports here.
Absolutely. And, you take a look at the men's soccer team. Coach Lilich really looked all over to add talent to his squad here in 2024. DJ Shin, one of the players on the North Georgia men's soccer team from Seoul, South Korea, 7,000 miles away from Dahlonega, makes his way to the Gold City to play here for North Georgia.
And it's really fun stories to tell like that, where a player is very far from home and, playing for a squad like North Georgia. And that men's game coming up next is going to be exciting to watch, to see what both teams have in store for part 2 of the Battle of Blood Mountain tonight. But, it's always cool to see, because you see really more in the men's game than you do in the women's game, that more of those international players come into play.
Absolutely. And the North Georgia men's soccer team, like you said, will be on full display coming up here in about an hour or so. Game is slated to start at 7 p.m. here at the UNG soccer field, and definitely going to be an exciting matchup between the Nighthawks and the Mountain Lions. You'll have the Peach Belt Conference Player of the Week for men's soccer, Maxwell Mitchell, on full display in that matchup. And, just like, a fantastic debut it's been for Blanca Cruz, it's also been a phenomenal debut for Maxwell Mitchell as well, a freshman out of Decula, Georgia. And he's a transfer from Georgia State, but he did not play at the NCAA level last season. Played for Georgia State's club team in 2023, and in his 2024 debut for North Georgia, scored 2 goals on the road and led to the first win.
And that's a fascinating thing, because a lot of these players, they have these great stories. I mean, finding a player at a club level, that is it's interesting, because when you think about players at the club level, you're not really keeping statistics. You're keeping records and the score of the game. But, to go to a club match, you wouldn't think about that. It's because if you think about it, I mean, people like us that are not saying we're unfit, Robert, but people that aren't athletic, nobody's going to come look at us and say, hey, can you step on the pitch and play for us?
Absolutely. And like in that game recap that North Georgia had against FMU, I think that our athletics director of communications, Brendan Shabath, put it best: no stone unturned for Coach Lilich when it comes to recruiting players to come to North Georgia. Because who would have thought, a club player from the Division I level at Georgia State come over to, the Division II level at the NCAA level, and in his debut, scoring 2 goals, leading to North Georgia's first win over FMU since 2002.
And the club level is basically, for people that don't know, is kind of a step up, somewhat of a step up from intramural sports. You're not on the official team, but you're on the club team. So it's like, not to say it's the backup team, but that's kind of what it is. You have the intramurals, club, and then you have the team. And we have stuff like that here at North Georgia. We have a club softball team. We have a club soccer team here. And I believe we also have intramural soccer as well. So it's those 3 different levels. Now, the other 2 levels aren't operated by athletics, but, you know, and give credit to Anel Illich. I mean, that's a lot of work to find somebody at the club level. That's at the club level, and that's at a club at a school, not some soccer club, because there's plenty of soccer clubs across the country that are, you know, for that developmental purpose. But a club team, you're more likely, more or less out there just to have fun. But, you know, sometimes that passion turns into, now the players aren't making money, but, you know, what turns into, I guess you could say in this instance, the money and getting experience and playing time at a Division II in the NCAA.
Yeah, you really can't beat that. Experience is definitely priceless. As we're going to have a whistle against North Georgia, gives Young Harris a free kick here in dangerous territory here for North Georgia, just outside the box, and this is probably the best opportunity Young Harris has had in this second half, I would say, but arguably in this entire game to potentially find the back of the net.
Yeah, in the past couple of minutes, Robert, I've noticed that things have started to shift over here more towards our side of the field, and we're starting to see that shift happen. And, you know, Young Harris is getting some shots, getting towards the goal here. We'll see what happens.
Ball stays low, sent out of play by Young Harris, and so this is going to be a goal kick here for Faith Bullied, as the Nighthawks are going to make another substitution. I believe that is Sam Cottle stepping back onto the field for the Nighthawks. Saw a little bit of her earlier in this game.
Sam Cottle.
So lots of different faces from what we saw from these 2 starting lineups to begin this game, as this ball rolls back to Faith Bullied. Lots of new faces from Young Harris and North Georgia seeing the field in this one. Both do come with their benefits, like we said. You know, lots of players getting some experience, seeing what, you know, some players deeper into your bench is made of, and, you know, that is, you know, still an advantage for Coach Allen. You know, even though his team is down by a handful of goals, it's still, you know, he gets to see, you know, some of the talent that he has maybe deeper into his bench, as this shot is just missing that top right corner from Betsy Boo.
Yeah, that was probably one of Young Harris's closest shots that they've had. That was a good opportunity there. If the ball was just a little bit more to the left, probably would have gotten in.
We were just talking about head coach Avram Allen in his second season at the helm of the women's soccer program here at Young Harris. If that name sounds familiar to you, it's probably because it's not the first time that you've heard it on a North Georgia broadcast. Allen, a former Nighthawk, as he played 2 seasons for the men's soccer team here at UNG, picked up multiple accolades along the way, left for an assistant coaching job for Young Harris and their women's soccer team before returning to North Georgia to be an assistant coach for the men's soccer program for 7 seasons. Again, finds himself back with Young Harris's women's soccer program now as the head coach. So really a few full circle moments for Coach Allen here with both Young Harris and North Georgia. Was a player and a coach for both schools. Now finds himself coaching a program he's all too familiar with in a place he's all too familiar with on the road here in North Georgia.
You want to take a guess? He probably didn't have to move at all in that time period. Wherever, I don't know where he lives or anything, but, you know, Young Harris is not far from here. You can easily make that commute. Not too much traffic, especially once you get past Dahlonega. So I bet that's been pretty nice for him, bouncing back and forth, not having to worry about moving or anything. Now, don't know that for a fact, but, you know, kind of staying in pretty much the same region.
Yeah, not having to relocate too much. These 2 schools just 59 minutes away from each other, just under an hour, depending on the traffic, of course, between Dahlonega
and depending on how fast you're
Harris.
driving. You know, people drive Blood Mountain. There's another battle of Blood Mountain, but that's not athletic related. Do more with racing, but
Nighthawks still applying the pressure late in this one, as they were trying to find Cottle on the play.
Got to say, this is the first time North Georgia's putting any pressure on
And
Young
the
Harris.
shot is collected and followed back in by Cottle. It's a Nighthawk onslaught here at the UNG soccer field. A 6-0 lead for the Nighthawks here in the Battle of Blood Mountain as Cottle puts one in the back of the net.
Hey, take a look at this. As I was saying there, this is really the first time they've gotten any pressure on Young Harris in about like 5 or 6 minutes. But the minute they flip sides of the field there, they got pressure on him immediately, and it's a 6-0 game now.
And the sixth goal coming from a sixth different Nighthawk, and that is going to be the end of the night here for Peaster, as Young Harris will make a substitution in goal here. Coach Allen had seen enough, as Harris will also step off the field. That is now Kaylee Hayes in goal for Young Harris, senior out of Watkinsville, Georgia, transfer from Erskine College.
Nighthawk goal scored by number 10, Sam Cottle.
And all 6 of these goals from North Georgia have just been incredibly impressive too. You know, nice footwork, and you know, they haven't really necessarily been easy shots coming against Young Harris, but North Georgia dominating here with the 6-0 lead.
And able to do it with a variety of players too, Robert. And that's been the key of this game, is that there's been a lot of sharing the love with the ball and all that, but being able to do it is telling you how diverse this team is, and that's a really good thing going forward. I mean, you know, having multiple players score a goal, and it makes you wonder how good this Nighthawk team is going to be in the future as Peach Belt Conference plays, you know, starting to come up on the horizon here. But yeah, you know, just a great overall effort by this Nighthawk team to just go out and show out. You know, this is a really encouraging sign, because it's not easy to score 6 goals in a match and hold your opponent scoreless too.
As this ball just gingerly rolls out of play, and it's going to be a goal kick here for Young Harris. But yeah, you really couldn't have asked for anything better if you're Coach Ralton from your Nighthawk squad. And we mentioned in that first half, 17 different Nighthawks scored a goal last season. 17 of the 22 who saw the field scored a goal for North Georgia last season. Just really impressive stuff from North Georgia. And in this game alone, 6 different Nighthawks have found the back of the net. So it's a little bit of deja vu.
Yeah, and you're probably going to get close to that number again, because you're probably going to be playing. There's probably going to be games where they're going to be kind of blowouts, and there's going to be opportunities for that. So I would believe it.
Mountain Lions looking to respond here with 17 minutes to go. Dug themselves quite the hole here on the road, as we're going to have a whistle and a foul going against North Georgia. So with 6 different Nighthawks scoring a goal in this game, that is now 7 different Nighthawks who have recorded a goal on the season. Darby Olive had one in the regular season opener for the Nighthawks.
Yeah, and she's been a big step up for them this year, and you know, getting to see it was really cool, because
Ball still alive for Young Harris. Could this be the chance? And it is not, as this ball rolls out of play. Another goal kick here for Bully.
Because I remember talking to Darby before the season and asking her about, you know, going into the season, because she's been a part of North Georgia her whole collegiate career, not sure what her role was going to be, and you know, the confidence level rose in the coaches and Coach JP and Coach Ralton throughout the years, and look what she's doing now for the Nighthawks as a full-time starter now, and she's definitely doing the damage out there on the pitch, and she's yielding great results, and that's a good thing to see, that, you know, the belief from the coaches and then the belief from her merging together is putting a good product out for her.
Yeah, haven't seen Darby Olive in this matchup, but she is definitely one of those hustle players, makes a lot of plays on the field for North Georgia. She's continuously putting in 110% when she's out there running around on the pitch. That is now actually 8 different Nighthawks who have scored a goal this season. Like we mentioned, Darby Olive recorded one, and of course, the Peach Belt Conference Player of the Week, Blanca Cruz, recording a pair of goals in North Georgia's last matchup against Limestone.
Yeah, and I mean, that's 8 in 3 games. So on average, you're getting about 3 different goal scorers a game, which is really, really good. And what that's telling you is that anybody on this team has got a realistic shot at doing that. And obviously, throughout the season, you're going to have your predominant players probably start racking up more than others. But you know, it's a really good thing, Robert, that you're able to do it that this early in the season. It's going to be really interesting next month and a half or so.
That shot soars over the goal from Emma Martin. It's going to be a goal kick here for Young Harris. But absolutely seeing a lot of similarities, like you said, Devin, between the 2023 team and the 2024 team. And last year, the Nighthawk who scored the highest amount of goals was Maysoon El Shami and Katie Durkay and Ariel Arnoff all had 6 goals each.
Yeah, and you really wonder how far that team could have gone last year. You named 2 of those players. They went down within the last 3 games of the season last year. You got to imagine Maysoon El Shami, Ariel Arnoff, at the end of the season, both healthy, both playing. Might be talking about a different story. You might talk about Sweet 16 potentially. Because I look at it this way: if those players were in, because they were able to hold their own, even super banged up against Catawba in the second round, and they just didn't have enough there. But you wonder if those players were healthy, what would have happened.
Looking forward here to this 2024 season. The future is very bright for North Georgia women's soccer, and even with all the success that they've had so far through these first 3 games, they're still looking to get some of their bigger offensive players into play here. Megan O'Brien had 4 goals last year. So did Adelaide Wheeler. Alex Clark, who did record a goal in today's matchup, still trying to get them involved as well. And once they start to find their footing here in 2024, you better watch out for North Georgia. We mentioned the faces that North Georgia has lost this season with El Shami and Durkay and Bailey Vessel. Also, Nikki Gomez, a big loss for North Georgia as well. She had 4 goals last year, was a staple in the Nighthawks lineup for many, many years. Natalie McGuire also transferring out of North Georgia. She had 5 goals last season as well. But they have certainly made up for, the players who made up for a lot of their goals last year. They've certainly made up for that this season. Kat Watry, also another player that North Georgia could look to get involved this season. She may be in contention for potentially leading the Nighthawks in goals this year. She is a defender, but she had 4 goals last year. Definitely broke through offensively. The best offensive season of her North Georgia career last year.
Yeah, that's a thing that I noticed when watching the home opener last week, was Kat Watry taking that next step up and being able to perform out there on the pitch, and we saw that. And
a great looking save there by Young Harris as O'Brien took the shot as Hayes comes up with it.
Yeah, it was a good block, or good catch by Hayes there. But to go back on it, Kat Watry stepping up. Alex Clark stepping up this year too. Darby Olive, another one. That's what I really noticed from that home opener, and even in tonight's matchup against Young Harris, is these players stepping up and doing the job, not just being there filling the roles, but performing at a high level, which is something you want to see happen out here on the field.
And so barring a massive comeback here from Young Harris in the final 10:50, North Georgia is looking to move to 3-0 on the season. Another great start for them here in 2024. They're 3-0-1. Had one of the best starts since 2019 in their first few games last season. Like I said, a little bit of deja vu here in 2024. Looking just as dominant as they did last year. as O'Brien tried to get a piece of it, was cut off there nicely by Young Harris. And the good thing about how North Georgia's schedule has kind of played out this season, each time they have a home stint, they're guaranteed 2 games here at the UNG soccer field, as Nighthawks trying to track this one down with Cottle. As Cottle and Young tried to work the ball around, this one gets back to Martin and turns it over to Young Harris. So North Georgia's longest hiatus away from home this season, just 2 games, 10 calendar days that they won't be playing games at home. That's a big advantage for North Georgia to not have the wear and tear from a ton of travel, and the Nighthawks, of course, thrive in front of the Nighthawk faithful. Speaking of thriving, O'Brien crosses it in as that ball just gets away, and the shot is deflected. A phenomenal save there from Hayes. A couple of opportunities there from North Georgia. Couldn't come away with anything, but the diving save there from from Hayes, definitely a highlight.
Yeah, it was definitely a crazy series of events as we're taking a look at it here on replay. A couple of opportunities for North Georgia, but great saves by the goalkeeper, keeping it out of North Georgia, extending their lead even more.
Yeah, Campbell was looking for one in the upper 90 there, but it's deflected out of there by Hayes. Hayes transferred to Young Harris last season, started 1 match, played in 4 goals as a goalkeeper, had 153 minutes in 2023. Only had 1 save last year, and she's already matched that here in 2024. And a phenomenal save at that. Again, here is O'Brien, who keeps it on the ground. O'Brien, a transfer from Georgia Southern, out of state originally from Cincinnati, Ohio. Appeared in 20 games in 2023, started 6 of those contests. Had 4 goals, tied for third on the team, but she also had 6 assists, which was tied for first on the North Georgia squad last year. She's definitely one of those do-it-all players, whether she's putting the ball in the back of the net or attaching an assist to a goal. She's definitely a player, and a very underrated player, I would say, on this North Georgia squad. Now with 7.5 minutes remaining, Young Harris looking for a few more final pushes here. Here's Betsy Boo as the ball rolls out of play, and it is going to be a corner here for the Mountain Lions. The clock will stop as both teams are going to make some substitutions, but since North Georgia is leading and they have a player stepping onto the field, the clock will stop with 7:26 remaining. So as both teams make some substitutions, Young Harris is going to have a solid opportunity here in this far right corner closest to your screen, as the corner is sent in. And again, nice job by North Georgia's back line taking care of that opportunity for Young Harris.
Stepping on for Young Harris, number 9, Anna Ferranta. Number 12, Maggie
Anna Ferranta
Venna.
and Maggie
And
Venna
number
stepping
17,
on.
Ciara Moore. Stepping on again for the Nighthawks, number 17, Charlie Morgan.
Charlie Morgan makes another appearance on the field here for North Georgia. Of course, like we mentioned earlier, North Georgia men's soccer is going to follow up this game with a matchup of Young Harris and another chapter written in the Battle of Blood Mountain coming up at 7 p.m. And Devin, you will be on the call for that game with our Brendan Shabath. And what are you looking forward to seeing from the men's soccer team in that match?
Yeah, hopefully for a result like this, because it would be much needed for the men's team when it comes to, if you look at the history between the two teams, between North Georgia and Young Harris, it's going to be interesting to see with the men's team. There's a little bit of adversity there with the injuries. It's going to be an interesting season for them, but really looking forward to it. It's going to be a good game. It normally always is. North Georgia and Good save.
Makes a great save there.
But to go back on it, it's always normally a good game. I mean, there was that great game a few years ago. It was a 2-2. Ended up in a 2-2 tie between Young Harris and North Georgia. That was a great game. That was my first season with athletics. But that's it's going to be a good game. It's going to be, and the men's team, they're a little bit more feisty than the women's teams are. So that's another thing to watch out for.
Ball's alive in the box. A little bit of action going on as it's cleared out of there by North Georgia. And this is really kind of an outlier game between North Georgia and Young Harris. Between the men's and the women's soccer teams, even though North Georgia has the all-time advantage and wins 13-1 over Young Harris, at least when it comes to the women's soccer sides of things, a lot of the matchups have been relatively close. 1-0, 2-0 wins for North Georgia. This has been one of their most dominant performances against Young Harris in program history. As this ball bounces back to Gianna Morey. She has pressure on her. That's cut off from behind by Campbell Young.
Oh.
As we are going to have a whistle and the ref having a conversation across the field. I believe it was with Hall. Hall trying to argue the case here for her teammate, Sam Cottle. And the Mountain Lions are going to have a free kick here near the sidelines with Gracie Smith. As they send this one in, ball still alive. We got a whistle going against Young Harris. A busy day around the Peach Belt Conference when it comes to our women's soccer schedule. Handful of games going on today. Columbus State taking down Lincoln Memorial 3-0 earlier today. USU Beaufort also winning 3-0 that game against Emmanuel University. North Greenville taking on USC Aiken. That game started at 5. USC Aiken down 1-0 in that one as this one gets in. The Nighthawks score yet again, and it's an onslaught here at the UNG soccer field. A 7-0 lead here for North Georgia as they add another one up on the board, this time by the freshman from Frisco, Kimura Hall.
Yeah, another one, just complete onslaught now. Got a touchdown score here in North Georgia, 7-0 over Young Harris. It's just a complete domination from this women's team. And, Young Harris, you have to score a goal on this season. See if they do it in the next 3 minutes or so.
Hall will immediately make her way off the field, but she scores her first goal as a Nighthawk. We've seen a lot of firsts in this game
scored by number
for North
15,
Georgia. Lots of Nighthawks scoring the first goal of their collegiate career, and it really is just an exciting thing to see, in your collegiate career, especially early. We're only 3 games into 2024, and a lot of these North Georgia freshmen have already got a goal underneath their belt. It's definitely a great confidence boost for them going into the rest of the season.
Darby Olive.
And it looks like Darby Olive
for the Nighthawks, number 24,
makes her
Blanca
debut
Cruz.
here in this game. Captain for this North Georgia squad, as you may be able to see the band on her left arm. It's been with the Nighthawks for quite some time. This free kick is sent in. Nighthawks tried to find the PBC player of the week, Blanca Cruz there. Ball just goes out of play, though, as we approach 2 minutes remaining.
Yeah, great effort all around by this Nighthawk squad today. It's just been complete domination over Young Harris.
Now under 2 minutes to go, and Young Harris is just going to try to send this one as far downfield as they can. Talking about the PBC schedule, Lander and Wingate taking on one another. That game started at 6 p.m. That game tied 0-0 still in the first half, and Georgia College is going to be taking on Middle Georgia State at 7 p.m. in Milledgeville, Georgia. Now, a lot of PBC teams, before we started conference play, off to great starts here in this season. And a great pass there from Cruz. Gets back to Cottle. Ball's going to fly out of play for another throw in for the Nighthawks. Yeah, 6 teams in the Peach Belt Conference undefeated
1 minute.
here
minute
in 2024. Of course, Clayton State and Columbus State up there as really 2 fantastic programs in the Southeast region and in the Peach Belt Conference. And but the way the schedule is going to play out this year, it definitely is going to be interesting to see where the final standings are here in 2024 when we come playoff time in the Peach Belt Conference. And it's going to shape up to be a great 2024 season here in the PBC.
Yeah, North Georgia set for their biggest shutout win against Young Harris. They've gotten 7 goals on them before, back in 2014, and then in 2 years ago in 2022. But never have they shut them out 7-0.
It's been a dominant performance. We know that the Nighthawks are more than capable of putting the ball in the back of the net.
7,
Did it
6,
a handful of times last year, really big wins for them, 6 to 7 to 10 goal games last year, and this one no different against Young Harris. And that is going to do it for this matchup between the Nighthawks and the Mountain Lions here. The 15th edition of North Georgia versus Young Harris ends in a victory for the Nighthawks as they defend home turf and extend their winning streak to 8 in a row against the Mountain Lions. Devin, North Georgia now 3-0 in 2024, off to a similar start to what we saw last season. What did you like from what you saw at North Georgia tonight?
The multiple different Nighthawks scoring. It wasn't the same player the whole time. And, it just shows us how good this Nighthawk squad is tonight, I think. Young Harris yet to score a goal in the season, but, it's not easy to put 7 goals up on an opponent in regular season play. So I'm really excited to see where this team goes. As you said, move to 3-0. Probably going to move up in the rankings depending on what the results are this Sunday against Florida Tech. But you got to look at what this team was last year, and then to see this early on, you can't help but to be excited for this team.
Absolutely. Lots to be excited about for North Georgia soccer. North Georgia wins this one 7-0, tying the record for the biggest shutout win against Young Harris in program history for them. A sensational showing from them. 7 goals coming from 7 different Nighthawks in this win. North Georgia women's soccer will be back in action this Sunday at 4 to take on Florida Tech right here at the UNG soccer field. But we've got plenty of Nighthawk soccer action coming your way. Game 2 of our North Georgia versus Young Harris doubleheader is up next. This time the men's team taking the field to try and pick up a rivalry win under the lights here in Dahlonega. On behalf of Devin Kupka and the rest of the NSN team, this is Robert E. Clementi saying thanks so much for watching North Georgia men's soccer versus Young Harris, coming up next at 7 on the Nighthawk Sports Network.